Okay, we're going live. Warming up a little bit. Henry McClure live. Here in the Glass Houses studio, which is part of the Ryan Mowinkle empire of commercial real estate, located right across from Raintree, home to the State Farm. You'll see the State Farm signs. And I want to invite you in, if you're a small business, or you're running for office, you want to make a podcast. Tonight, I want to just do a math problem. Let's do some math. So this will help you go to sleep and you can dream about the numbers. Okay? That's what we're going to do. So, streets. As we go through the budget process, let's just think about the money, where the money is gone. And I want to start with sales tax money, because tomorrow is actually a JETO meeting. And JETO contracts with Go Topeka. Go Topeka then doles out the economic development money. So what's really crazy, really the way it seems like it works, is we enter into a contract with them and then we got to come back and beg for our own money. Or Go Topeka decides where the money's going to go, and then the JETO members just vote for it. But when we pass the sales tax, see here, 6th Avenue, Gage to Fairlawn, 17th, Adams to Washburn, 17th Street, McVicker to Kansas Interstate I-470, Topeka Boulevard, 15th to 21st, California Avenue, 37th to 45th, Seward Avenue, Sumner Street to Forest Avenue, Harrison Street, Gage Boulevard to Harrison, Gage Boulevard, Kansas Avenue. No, that was 12th Street. Rochester Road, Highway 24 to 50th Street, Button Road, or 46th Street, Button Road to Rochester, 29th Street, Fairlawn Road to Wanamaker, 37th Street, Scapa Place to Burlingame, 37th Street, Kansas Avenue to Adams, County Bridges, Expo Center. And so the main thing on this document is all streets. And this was on the ballot. And this is what we voted for. Economic development is at the top, but what is economic development today? I'm not seeing it. And I know a little bit about it. Economic development is not, it's not Chick-fil-A and Whataburger. It really isn't. Those are great additions. They're fun. They bring in sales tax. No harm, no foul. The way TIF works is the developer puts up all the cash. I mean, we've got to figure out how to attract a big company to locate here. And where they move all their people. Because we got to grow the population and increase the tax base. That's what the economic development money was used for. Supposed to be used for. That's why we voted for it. But it hasn't worked. So we need to pivot. So as we think about the budget and we watch the budget unfold, let's think about where we've spent some of our money. And I'm going to start off with $9.5 million to the AT&T building. So there's $9.5 million. That's sales tax money that could have gone into the roads. So let's just forget about what the AT&T project's for. Look, I don't believe in it. It was the same thing that was supposed to go into Wolf's camera, which we spent $1 million in rent. So I think it's fair to get to add that million. So there's a million in rent that we'll never see. Okay, and everybody's talking about Lawrence Bay right now, but I'm going to set that over here because that $8 million, you can't use it for the roads because that $8 million was used to go to the bond payments. The bond payments that were floated to build all the infrastructure out there that some guy hasn't paid in a decade. But the crime is that the elected officials haven't figured out how to collect it. So that's why you got to change the elected officials. So let's talk about what other money could we discuss? Well, I'll tell you something. Right now, let's talk about the hotel. The hotel, I think that the hotel is a good thing to talk about right now. So here, so I think we've got $11 million into that. With the purchase price under $8 million plus all the deferred maintenance they've done. You know, that number's getting pretty big. So let's just start with canceling. Let's start with canceling the contract with the NGO, non-government organization. Let's just cancel the contract today with Go Topeka. All right? So there's $5 million. And what I'm doing is I'm making these numbers right now because these are choices we've made. These are choices we've made. We've decided, we made a choice. We didn't, but the government made a choice for $9.5 million to go into a building. They put $1 million in rent into a building that this same thing was supposed to do. We got $11 million into a hotel. We got $5 million that we can save from Go Topeka. We can organically do economic development by just, as mayor, I can tell you who wants to come to town. We can have a group, the mayor's group of interested people that want to be developers, brokers, wannabe developers. If we engage the Topeka Board of Realtors, I think they've got 730 members overall, but I think 500 members right now in Topeka. And I'd rather deal with that 500 people because that's 500 individual business people. That's 500 because we're all our own company. We're all independent contractors. Now, a guy like Doug Bassett that owns Berkshire Hathaway, he has a deal with his agents, and he provides them office space and the tools at hand. But everybody's an independent contractor. So that's like giving 500 jobs the day I take office, because I'm going to cancel the contract. I'm going to vote no. I'm going to need help. I'm going to need Deister and McIntosh, and I'm going to have to convince people that we've got to do something different. But you guys are going to have to help me. So let's just, I do want to bring up one other project right now, because it wasn't appropriate today to shrink down Huntoon. So we signed a contract. We did sign a contract for $3.5 million to Bartlett and West to start that today. So here we go, 3.5. And, let's also bring up right now, this would be a good time to bring up the $554,000 that we paid a consultant to do the selling of the hotel. Now, let's talk about the $3.5 million that we spent with Benish, the consultant for engineering. All right, so let's okay, so let's review. $9.5 million, AT&T, $1 million for the Wolf's building, $11 million for the hotel, $5 million for Go Topeka, $3.5 million for Bartlett and West, $554,000 for the hotel consultant, $3.5 million for Benish. That's a lot of money. That is absolutely a lot of money. And when I say I'm a deal maker, well, sometimes one of the best deals you make is when you don't do a deal and you say no. And we need somebody to say no to this stupidity. This is out of control, and this is all going on now. We're not, Lawrence Bay's over here. Lawrence Bay, the $8 million just proves to you that the existing people in the elected offices aren't capable of making the right decisions. If they can't figure that out in a decade, they got no business being our elected officials. So completely separate from all this. And when you start thinking about having me as the mayor, and here's the thing about it, this stuff, I've had to dig and fight to get all this information. And I really worry about, something we've never talked about, right? We ought to talk about all the lawsuits that we've had. Let's talk about Steve Wade. Steve Wade, Steve Wade, he really needs to show up as a liability when you're thinking about voting. Steve Wade was not the right guy to hire, and Steve Wade created some of this problem. So, showing up and saying no, and then getting other people to stop all these bad ideas, you can never tell. You can never tell how people are really going to vote. I've seen this stuff go on for so long. But I know that Earl McIntosh and Dr. Deister, they're not for this stuff. And so there's votes right there. And then if we could just get some reasonable people to join in. But here's the thing about it, is we can at least start separating, from these people from these people. And it will take a little time to change. That's it for tonight's show. That's a lot of math. You know what? I'm going to do a little spreadsheet. I'm going to make it look nice. We've got problems here. And these are problems of today. I was talking to a friend of mine about the roads. And I can find my videos that I make about Adams Street. From 5th Street to 8th Street is the worst road in all of Topeka. I don't care where you are. Your road can't be any worse than that. There's missing bricks, there's potholes. And here's the thing about it, is both fleets of the city and the county use Adams Street every day. Our gas station is down at the end there with Marvin Spees. I need to ask Marvin how he voted on that AT&T deal, but next time I see him. I didn't want to interrupt his lunch today. But the point I'm trying to make about the roads being so bad is it affects us when we hit the pothole, throw our car out of alignment, need a new tire. But think about our fleets in the city and the county going down this street. I'll pull it up or go look at it for yourself. But we're not using our head. We're not using common sense. But the local citizen, grandma going to the grocery store that hits a pothole and gets her car out of line, she might not have the money to fix the steering wheel rod or to go get the alignment front, the front end alignment. We're not thinking. We're not just thinking like basic, simple people. And that's what we got to break it down to. We got to just we've got to make it so simple to live in this town that you actually understand politics. I'm Henry McClure. I'm running for mayor, and I want to work for you just to make it simple. Nobody's told you they love you tonight. I love you. That's my message tonight. Y'all get a good night's sleep. Thanks.